Hey, it's Brittany with Find Your Fierce Coaching, and tonight I want to talk about commitment issues because it's going to be rough, okay? It's going to be some tough love, and I feel like there's so much to share about this topic, but I wanted to relate it back to our series that we've been doing, the Prepping for the Positive, and talking about why you haven't been able to do this so far. And so tonight, like I said, we're going to talk about commitment. And the exciting part is you're going to have to really dig deep, because tomorrow we're starting a brand new series, and this is really the jump off point for that. So a lot of times when someone says that you have, like, oh, I have commitment issues, you instantly think, like, in a relationship, right? Instantly think, like, oh, you're not loyal in a marriage or a relationship or whatever, because when we think of commitment, we think in a relationship. But the reality is commitment runs a lot deeper than a relationship or a marriage. It's way deeper. A lot of people that have commitment issues in a marriage or a relationship actually just have commitment issues to themselves, and they don't know what they want in life, and they can't commit to themselves, which makes them unable to commit to other people. That's just real talk. If you're somebody that has been struggling with commitment issues, you've got to dig inside of yourself, because this all begins with you. And I mean, I can talk about commitment issues all day long in a whole nother series, but I really want to address commitment issues inside yourself and talk about how committing to change is not just commitment to a new behavior, but it's a commitment to yourself, that you're worth the change. Okay, so you're committing that you've said you're going to do something and you are going to do it. So a couple of things I wanted to talk about, just touch on a little bit tonight, kind of get your brain flowing in, like I said, into tomorrow's brand new series, is if you're thinking that you want to make a change and you are like, man, I think I'm ready for a better job, a better marriage, a better relationship. It doesn't matter where you want to make these changes. If it's at work, if it's at home, if it's, internal, whatever it is, I have some questions for you to ask yourself, okay? So number one, what do you want to change? It's important to really be direct. Commit to yourself. You gotta get, like, specific. This cannot be like, oh, I just want to be a better friend. But what about being a friend you want to be better at? Because if you can't hold yourself accountable, which is what what the biggest issue is, then you're not going to make a change, whether how specific or how broad that change is. So the second question is, why do you want to change? What are your factors for making a change? Is your why, so the answer to the previous question, is that a strong enough feeling to push you through the bad days? Because there's going to be really days when you want to just go back to doing you. But you're going to have that reason to keep going to push you through those days. And if your why is like, well, I just, like, I want to be a better friend. Why do you want to be a better friend? Well, I want to be a better friend because, I feel really lonely and I feel bad about myself. Okay, is that really, like, enough reason, the days that you want to cancel on your girlfriends, or the days that you want to just, crawl in a hole and be a hermit? Is that enough reason? I just don't want to be lonely. If you really want to make a change, you have to find a why behind that is going to keep you going on the days that's just easier to not do it. Who can you count on to help you be accountable? So besides yourself, that is the number one. The end of the day, you have to do you. Like, you have to be willing to commit to you. And I am going to talk in our next series a little bit about committing to you and how you can hold yourself accountable. Because if you're anything like me, just being like, oh yeah, you did a great job today, Brittany, like, that's not enough for me to keep going. So we'll talk about that. We will dive into that. Don't worry. But you have to know who else you can who else can hold you accountable. So for me, in my weight loss journey, I'm really hold myself accountable to my mom. I have, another group of women that I hold myself accountable to. Travis oftentimes checks in with me and he's like, hey, I didn't see a workout post last night. My cousin / roommate has started doing some yoga, so it's kind of cool because we might be chatting after work and she'll be like, hey, I gotta go get my workout in, and I'm like, yeah, me too. So it is nice to have those people along the way, but my why for wanting to work out is so much stronger that even if those people didn't check in with me, I'm gonna do it because I want it for me. The next question is that you should ask yourself if you're trying to commit to changes: who, if anyone, will be affected by this? And the reason it's important to identify this is because oftentimes we make a change and we expect that everyone else around us is going to recognize the change in behavior and like praise us and be excited and all this stuff that, oh, I'm so happy for you, and like, thank you for treating me better. But realistically, that change is going to take a long time. It's not going to be like, oh, I've said yes to the last 3 times you wanted to hang out, and I've even reached out to you about hanging out. That's, unfortunately, it's going to take more than just 3 times. So identify who you want to impact with your change, but remind yourself that this is not going to be, where you're, in 2nd grade t-ball and everyone gets a prize at the end. Like, you're going to have to do hard work, and it's going to take a long, sustained period of time of you working hard before you're going to see people be impacted by your behavior change, okay? And then finally, when do you want to accomplish this goal? If you don't have a time frame on your goal, it's very easy to not commit to yourself. Like, I just want to be a better friend. Like, when do you want to accomplish that? When, what is a date or maybe an event or something that's going to happen where you want to really feel like you've made progress on this goal? Identifying a time is going to help you stay committed, because again, if you're anything like me, I need to know like a deadline. If you say I have till 6 p.m. on Friday evening, I'm going to do everything I can to get that done by 6 p.m. on Friday evening. If you're just like, oh, hey, can you do me this favor, just like whenever, I will never find time to fit that in. So having a deadline is going to help you stay committed to yourself. I'm so sorry. I need a drink so bad. I apologize. So if you have, you have to be ready to commit to the hard work, because if you're not prepared to answer those questions, or you're not ready to give yourself an honest truth, you need to reevaluate what your behavior change behavior change is going to be. So start small. You don't need to be like, oh, I want to end world hunger. I want to be a better mom, wife, sister, daughter. I want to, volunteer all my children's school functions and do this, and this, and this. Like, start small. We don't need to be going with like major life changes and overhauling your entire life, because you're going to give up. No matter who is asking you to commit to something, whether it's yourself or a boss or a partner in your relationship, if somebody asks you to change everything about you, that's a bad sign, and it's going to be overwhelming, and you're going to quit, because trying to change every part of you isn't going to, bode well for success. So if you can answer those questions that I listed above and you don't have solid answers, I really suggest you spend some more time digging in, because being able to answer the what, the why, the how, the who, the when, those are very basic things that we learned in elementary school. You need to identify these portions of a problem, which you're identifying. Your problem is, maybe you don't have a lot of close girlfriends, and so you want to really reach out to more people in your life and make better connections. And you want to do this because you feel like having valued connections is very important to you, and, you know, whatever. Maybe, you know, you're realizing you're going through a difficult time and you realize you don't have anyone to turn to. And it would just be so nice to have somebody to turn to, but you don't have anyone because you've cut yourself off from people. Okay. The only people you can really maybe keep yourself accountable to is maybe, you know, you reach out to your mom or your husband or boyfriend or whatever and kind of tell them, listen, I really am trying to be committed to being a better friend and making more friends. Obviously, people that would be impacted by your change is going to be you and those potential people that you would maybe interact with. And then when do you want to accomplish this? Like, I want to have a solid friendship that I'm nurturing. You know, I want to have something like that by the end of the year. If you can't feel solid in those questions, do more digging. Maybe it's not that you're not a good friend. Maybe there's something else that's going on that has caused you to not have close people in your life. If you can't identify those issues and identify what the problem is and how to correct it, like, I'm not saying you have to commit to perfection, okay? There's going to be times that you're working towards a goal and like, dang, like, okay, for example, I'm working for a goal. This week has got me way off schedule. And so I've already told myself it's okay. Like, take this week off. It's cool. Get back on the horse on Monday. But if a goal, you can't really put your finger on things, you don't really know how to identify those things, then when are you going to have time and energy really to dedicate it? If you can't answer the who, what, why, when, where, how questions, you probably don't have the time and energy in your life to commit to it. But you have to dig deep on anything that you want to change. And you have to remember that the most important answer to the who is this going to affect is you. So whether you pass or fail, it impacts you. You're the person who set these goals. There is nobody else in the world that can say, hey, Brittany, you didn't do this, and have it impact me quite like me being like, wow, I really dropped the ball on that. Like, it's embarrassing. I don't like that. I'm not the kind of person that drops the ball. And so having somebody to check in with is great, but you can't rely on it. At the end of the day, this is a choice. Whatever your decision is, whatever the change you're looking to make is, it's on your shoulders, and you have to be willing to commit to yourself to stay strong and to keep pushing when it gets hard, because it's going to get hard. So again, I just, wanted to go back to that. The change starts and ends really with you and your commitment to yourself. You have to get out of your own comfort zone and commit that you're going to do what you need to do to accomplish the goals that you set for yourself. If you can't do that, then maybe it's time to reevaluate a little bit, okay? So that is my little message tonight about commitment issues. How do you stay committed, and what's the most important commitment you'll ever make? And that is, again, to yourself. It's like they say, you can always lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You are the only person who can make yourself drink, okay? So thank you for hopping on. I know it's a little bit later, and I do appreciate everyone getting on, and I thank you for watching the series about prepping for the positive. And I can't wait to bring a whole new series to you tomorrow regarding some mindset changes. So we've kind of been getting ready for that, and then tomorrow we're really going to jump into what are some ways to actually make some great changes to your mindset, okay? So thank you again for joining, and have a wonderful evening.